What if I told you that reversing muscle loss doesn't start at the gym, but in your fruit bowl? Yes, seriously, not protein powders, not expensive supplements, just everyday fruits, fruits that you might already have in your kitchen, that can literally help seniors rebuild muscle, improve balance, and stay strong well into their 70s, 80s, even 90s. Seniors, top 7 fruits that reverse muscle loss naturally. Let's break the myth that muscle loss is something we have to accept with age. You've probably heard people say, losing strength is just part of getting older, but is it? Or have we just been eating the wrong things for too long? Some experts claim certain fruits are game changers for aging muscles. Others say it's just hype. Fruits are sugar, right? So who's right? Can bananas, kiwis, and grapes really help you stay on your feet and avoid a walker? Well, we looked at the research, and what we found may surprise you. Before we dive into the 7 powerful fruits that could make a real difference in your life or a loved one's, don't forget to hit that like button, share this video with someone who needs it, and subscribe to our channel. It really helps us out and gives us the motivation to keep bringing you life-changing health tips every week. Because let's face it, getting older isn't always easy, but it doesn't have to mean getting weaker. So what's fruit number 1? It's sweet, it's soft, and it's probably already in your pantry. Let's get started. Understanding sarcopenia, the silent thief. Sarcopenia isn't just a part of getting older. It's a real medical condition, one that steals your strength little by little until everyday tasks feel harder than they should. You might notice it when getting up from a chair becomes more difficult, or when your balance starts to feel off for no clear reason. Maybe your pants feel looser, but it's not fat you're losing, it's muscle. And here's the truth. It happens to many of us. In fact, over 30% of adults over the age of 60 are already affected by sarcopenia, often without even knowing it. This condition develops when your body begins to break down muscle faster than it can rebuild it. Several factors contribute to this process. A natural decline in hormones like testosterone, estrogen, and growth hormone. A slowdown in the mitochondria, the little energy factories in your cells. A lack of high-quality protein and antioxidants in your diet, and chronic inflammation, which quietly damages tissues over time. Left unchecked, sarcopenia leads to a noticeable decline in mobility, stability, and independence. But most people don't talk about it until the consequences become too hard to ignore. A fall, a hospital visit, or that moment you realize you're avoiding the stairs. I've been a physician for more than 30 years, and I'm also in my 70s. I know this isn't just something that affects other people. I've felt it myself. I remember crouching to weed my garden one morning and realizing I couldn't stand back up without leaning on the fence. That moment hit me hard. I had spent my entire life helping others stay strong and healthy, yet here I was feeling weaker than I should. It was a wake-up call. Muscle is more than strength. It's your body's support system. It helps regulate blood sugar, protects your joints and bones, boosts your immune system, and even sharpens your thinking. There's a strong connection between muscle health and brain health. Seniors with more leg muscle, for example, perform better on memory tests. So when you lose muscle, you're not just getting weaker, you're putting your whole body at risk. But here's the good news. Sarcopenia isn't inevitable. It can be prevented, slowed, and even reversed if you act early. It starts with awareness. So let me ask you, have you been feeling more unsteady lately? Have you been avoiding walks, stairs, or bending down? Are you eating enough protein? Are you nourishing your body with foods that fight inflammation and fuel recovery? Before we dive into exercise plans or supplements, let's start with something simple. Food. Real food. In the chapters ahead, I'll introduce you to 7 fruits that can help support muscle growth, reduce inflammation, and improve energy, all backed by science and all easy to add to your daily routine. You don't need extreme changes, just small, consistent steps. Let's get started. Number 1, prunes, your daily dose of muscle insurance. Have you ever woken up with a leg cramp that made it hard to walk the next day? Or maybe you've noticed your balance isn't what it used to be. If you're over 60, those signs might be more than just aging. They could be your body warning you about muscle loss. One of my patients, Harold, came in with that exact problem. He was having leg cramps, joint pain, and low energy. After running some tests, we found that his potassium was low and his diet was lacking anti-inflammatory nutrients. Instead of loading him up with medications, I suggested something simple: 4 prunes a day. Prunes are far more powerful than people give them credit for. Just 100 grams of prunes have about 700 milligrams of potassium, more than a banana. Potassium helps your muscles contract properly and reduces the chance of painful cramps. Prunes are also packed with phenolic compounds, which are natural antioxidants that fight inflammation, something that slowly chips away at muscle and joint health. On top of that, they're a solid source of vitamin K, which helps keep your bones and muscles working together the way they should. Harold followed my advice. Within 3 weeks, his cramps were almost gone, his sleep improved, and he told me his legs felt steadier when he walked. And all it took was a few prunes a day. You don't need to eat a whole bag, just 3 or 4. That's enough to make a difference if you're consistent. If you're wondering how to use them, there are a few easy ways. I like to soak prunes in water overnight and drink the soaking liquid first thing in the morning. It helps with digestion, and the prunes are softer and easier to eat. You can also chop them into oatmeal, blend them into a smoothie, or eat them as a sweet afternoon snack. They're shelf-stable, naturally sweet without added sugar and easy on the stomach. Let me ask you something. Have you checked your potassium levels lately? Are you eating enough foods that support muscle health? Most older adults aren't, and the result is more weakness, more falls, and more hospital visits. In fact, studies show that nearly 98% of Americans don't get enough potassium in their daily diet. That's a huge gap, especially when your muscles rely on it to function properly. I'm 71 myself, and I've added prunes to my morning routine. At first, I wasn't excited. I thought they were just for digestion. But after a few weeks, I noticed fewer aches in my knees and more energy during the day. It's a small change, but it's made a real difference. If you're dealing with muscle cramps, fatigue, or balance issues, consider this your sign. Don't wait for a serious fall or injury to make a change. Add a few prunes to your day and give your muscles the support they need. Simple, affordable, and effective, just the way healthy aging should be. Number 2, red grapes, the circulation secret. Red grapes might seem like just a sweet snack, but for older adults they offer something much more powerful. They're packed with resveratrol, a natural antioxidant found in the skin and seeds that supports healthy blood flow, reduces inflammation, and helps muscles recover faster. As we age, our circulation naturally slows down. That means less oxygen reaches the muscles, leading to longer recovery times and a higher risk of muscle breakdown. If you've ever felt unusually tired after light activity like walking or gardening, poor circulation could be part of the reason. Resveratrol works by keeping your blood vessels flexible, improving mitochondrial function, and lowering oxidative stress inside muscle tissue. This helps your body deliver oxygen and nutrients where they're needed most. I had a patient named Maria, 66, who used to enjoy gardening but started feeling drained afterward. I asked her to try 1 cup of red grapes daily, with skins and seeds included. 2 weeks later, she told me her fatigue had improved and her muscles didn't feel as sore. Scientific studies back this up. Research published by the National Institutes of Health shows that regular consumption of resveratrol improves circulation, supports cellular energy, and even helps protect against age-related decline in physical performance. It's not about taking high doses, just a consistent daily intake from natural sources. If you're thinking about how to add them to your routine, it's easy. Eat 1 cup of red grapes a day. Keep the skins on, that's where the resveratrol is most concentrated. And if you can tolerate the seeds, eat those too. If not, blend the grapes into a smoothie so you don't waste the benefits. You can also freeze them and snack on them throughout the day, or toss them into your morning yogurt or salad. I've added red grapes to my own routine, especially after noticing some leg stiffness during walks. It's made a difference in how quickly I recover and how steady I feel throughout the day. Let me ask you, do you often feel sore or tired after minor physical tasks? Are your hands or feet cold, or do your legs cramp up without warning? If so, poor circulation might be holding you back more than you realize. Red grapes are a simple, natural way to support better blood flow and help your muscles stay energized and strong. They're proof that good food really can be good medicine. Number 3, Padron peppers, gentle heat, strong muscles. Padron peppers may be small and mild, but they pack a surprising punch when it comes to supporting muscle health, especially as we age. These little green peppers are rich in vitamin C, which is essential for collagen production. Collagen helps hold your muscle fibers, tendons, and ligaments together, making sure your body stays strong and flexible. Without enough collagen, you're more likely to experience stiffness, slower recovery, and joint discomfort. Padron peppers also contain a mild dose of capsaicin, the same compound that gives hot peppers their kick. While they aren't spicy, the capsaicin is still enough to help improve blood circulation, which is key for delivering oxygen and nutrients to your muscles. A patient of mine, Mr. Yamada, age 70, had been dealing with knee stiffness every morning. He stayed active, but noticed that getting out of bed and walking felt harder than it used to. I recommended he start eating Padron peppers 3 times a week, sautéed in olive oil with a sprinkle of turmeric. After a month, he told me his morning stiffness had almost disappeared. The combination of vitamin C, capsaicin, and curcumin from the turmeric gave his joints and muscles the anti-inflammatory support they needed. If you've been feeling stiff, especially in the mornings, or if your muscles seem slower to recover after movement, it might be time to ask yourself, are you eating foods that support healing and circulation? Most people don't realize that food can make that kind of difference. A 2019 study in the Journal of Medicinal Food found that regular intake of curcumin reduced inflammation and improved joint flexibility in older adults. Padron peppers are easy to add to your meals. Just heat a little olive oil in a pan, toss in 5 or 6 peppers, cook until blistered, and finish with turmeric and black pepper. They make a great side for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. I eat them twice a week now, and I can feel the difference in how my knees move, especially when I go upstairs. This is one of those small changes that adds up. You don't need fancy supplements or strict routines. Sometimes the right foods prepared simply are all your body really needs to stay strong. Number 4, Madrona berries, wild, rare, remarkable. Madrona berries aren't something you'll find in the produce aisle, but if you live near the Pacific Northwest, you might spot them growing wild on the smooth, red-barked Madrona tree. These small, reddish berries are rich in nutrients that can support muscle recovery and joint health, especially for older adults. They contain nearly twice the vitamin C of oranges, which is essential for collagen production, a key protein that helps repair muscle fibers and strengthen connective tissues. As we age, our ability to produce collagen naturally declines, so getting more vitamin C from whole foods becomes even more important. Madrona berries also offer flavonoids and tannins, 2 natural compounds that reduce inflammation and protect tissues from wear and tear. If you've ever experienced soreness that lingers for days after mild activity, or noticed that your joints feel stiff even when you haven't done much, chronic inflammation could be the cause. Flavonoids help calm that internal inflammation and support better circulation, which helps your muscles get the oxygen and nutrients they need to recover faster. A few years ago, I spent a week at my son's cabin in Washington State, where Madrona trees grow along the hillsides. I tried making a simple compote by simmering the berries with lemon juice and cinnamon, no added sugar. It was tangy and earthy, and I started spreading it on toast or stirring it into yogurt. After adding it to my diet a few times a week, I noticed my post-walk joint soreness began to ease up. It wasn't a dramatic change, but it was real. There's science behind it too. Studies show that diets rich in flavonoids and vitamin C are linked to better muscle function and lower inflammation in older adults. One study from the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that seniors with higher vitamin C intake had better grip strength and overall muscle performance. If you come across Madrona berries at a local farmer's market or growing nearby, try making that same compote. Just berries, lemon juice, and a pinch of cinnamon. Use it as a toast topping or mix it into plain Greek yogurt. Even just a handful provides a strong dose of vitamin C and antioxidants. Let me ask, are you including enough anti-inflammatory foods in your routine? Are you eating to support your muscles and joints, or just reacting to discomfort when it shows up? Madrona berries may be rare, but they're a great example of how local, seasonal foods can quietly support strength and recovery. As we get older, it's the small, consistent choices that help us keep moving. Sometimes, the best medicine is growing just outside your door. Number 5, golden kiwi, making protein count again. As we get older, our bodies don't absorb nutrients as well as they used to, especially protein. You might eat a healthy meal with chicken, fish, or beans, but that doesn't guarantee your body is breaking it down and using it efficiently. That's where golden kiwis come in. Each golden kiwi contains about 161 milligrams of vitamin C, which helps produce collagen and supports immune function. But more importantly for muscle health, it contains an enzyme called actinidin. Actinidin helps your digestive system break down proteins so your body can actually absorb and use them for muscle repair and growth. If you're eating enough protein but still feel tired, weak, or notice slow recovery after physical activity, your digestion might be part of the problem. I've had that experience myself. I started adding one golden kiwi to my morning routine, along with a few walnuts and a drizzle of raw honey. It's become my go-to breakfast combination. The kiwi helps digestion, the walnuts provide healthy fats and protein, and the honey offers a clean energy boost. Within a few weeks, I noticed fewer digestive issues and better muscle endurance during walks and workouts. Golden kiwis are soft, easy on the teeth, and much less acidic than green ones, making them perfect for older adults with sensitive digestion or dental concerns. You can eat them with a spoon, slice them into your oatmeal, or add them to a smoothie. They're widely available year-round and require no prep beyond cutting one open. Studies support their benefits, too. Research published in the Journal of Nutritional Biochemistry found that actinitin improves protein digestion, especially in older adults. Another study showed that older adults who consumed more vitamin C had better muscle mass and fewer signs of inflammation. So let me ask, if you're already trying to eat healthy, are you also helping your body absorb what it needs? Golden kiwi might be one of the easiest tools to make your nutrition work harder for you. Just one a day can help your muscles get more from the food you already eat. It's a small fruit with a big impact. Number 6, loquats, the forgotten fruit with serious firepower. Loquats are one of the most overlooked fruits when it comes to supporting strength and healthy aging. You might have seen them growing in backyard trees, small, golden, and slightly fuzzy, but few people realize how beneficial they are. These fruits contain ursolic acid, a natural compound that studies suggest may reduce the risk of sarcopenia by as much as 30%. That means they don't just slow muscle loss. They may actually help your body repair and rebuild muscle tissue, which becomes harder to do as we age. Beyond that, loquats are packed with carotenoids to support eye and skin health, potassium to help maintain muscle fluid balance and prevent cramps, and soluble fiber to support digestion and gut health. If you've ever felt sluggish after meals, had trouble with regularity, or experienced muscle tightness or nighttime cramps, loquats might be one small step toward easing those issues. A few years ago, I began noticing some mild weakness in my legs when getting up from a low chair. Nothing major, but it caught my attention. I started looking into foods that could help with muscle support and recovery, and that's when I rediscovered loquats. I now make a simple loquat compote by simmering the peeled fruit with lemon juice and cinnamon. No sugar added. It's sweet, warming, and perfect on oatmeal or whole grain toast. Since adding it to my routine, I've noticed better energy in my morning walks and less joint stiffness after long days. Research backs up what I've experienced. One study found that ursolic acid helped prevent muscle loss in aging animals and promoted muscle growth. Other research highlights loquats, anti-inflammatory and antioxidant benefits, which are essential for recovery and long-term joint health. They may be hard to find in stores, but local farmers' markets sometimes carry them in season, and if you live in a warm region, you might even have access to a tree nearby. Let me ask, have you ever tried a loquat? Are you including fruits in your diet that actually support your muscles and joints, or just the ones that taste good? Loquats happen to do both. They're easy to prepare, good for your whole body, and one of the best-kept secrets for staying strong as we age. Number 7. Wild blackberries, fuel for brain and body. Wild blackberries do more than just taste good. They're packed with nutrients that support both your muscles and your brain. Their deep purple color comes from anthocyanins, powerful antioxidants that help reduce muscle inflammation and protect brain function. For older adults, that means fewer sore muscles, better balance, and sharper memory. Just a small handful, about 10 to 15 berries a day, can make a noticeable difference. These berries also contain vitamin C, which helps rebuild tissue, and manganese, a mineral that supports energy production in your cells. Together, they help your muscles recover faster and keep your brain more alert. If you've ever felt sore after a short walk or found yourself forgetting simple things more often, wild blackberries are a smart, natural way to give your body and mind some extra support. I started adding them to my routine after I noticed I was feeling mentally foggy and a little unsteady during morning walks. Now I stir them into my oatmeal or blend them into smoothies with flaxseed oil for an extra brain boost. Sometimes I freeze them and eat them as a cool afternoon snack. They're easy to enjoy, and after a few weeks I felt more balanced and focused, something I hadn't realized I was missing until it came back. Studies show that older adults who eat anthocyanin-rich berries regularly have better coordination and memory. These berries also improve blood flow, which helps your muscles get the oxygen they need and keeps your brain sharp. If you live near wooded areas, you might be able to pick them fresh in the summer. But even if you don't, frozen wild blackberries are available year-round in most stores. Just make sure they're unsweetened and unprocessed. They're a simple, affordable way to help you stay steady on your feet and focused in your daily life. The Fruit Strength Routine, simple, sustainable strategy. Building a routine to support your muscles doesn't need to be complicated. In fact, the simpler it is, the more likely you are to stick with it. Start by rotating these fruits throughout your week in easy, enjoyable ways. On Monday, add 3 prunes to your morning oatmeal and snack on a golden kiwi with walnuts. On Tuesday, try Greek yogurt with a handful of red grapes and add sautéed Padron peppers to your dinner. By Wednesday, blend blackberries with flaxseed oil into a smoothie and enjoy Loquat compote on whole grain toast. From there, just repeat and mix things up based on what you enjoy and what's available. You don't need to do everything at once. The goal is to build small habits that support strength, energy, and balance. Drink plenty of water each day, walk at least 20 minutes if you can, and try resistance bands 2 to 3 times per week. These simple moves keep your muscles active without putting too much strain on your joints. Let me ask, have you noticed how your energy or leg strength changes throughout the week? Have you ever tried writing down how you feel after certain meals or activities? I started keeping a small notebook next to my kitchen counter, just to jot down things like how I slept, how my knees feel in the morning, or whether I had more energy after my walk. It helps me notice what's working, and it reminds me that even small improvements are worth tracking. Research backs this up. A study in the journals of gerontology found that older adults who followed a routine that included antioxidant-rich foods and moderate daily activity had better balance and muscle strength than those who didn't. Another study from Nutrients showed that resistance band training, combined with good nutrition, improved mobility in seniors after just 2 months. This kind of routine isn't about being perfect every day. It's about being consistent enough to feel stronger, steadier, and more confident in your body. A few fruits, a bit of movement, and some simple awareness go a long way. You're not just adding food to your plate, you're adding strength to your life. So let's recap. These 7 fruits aren't just tasty, they're packed with nutrients that support muscle strength, reduce inflammation, and help you stay active and independent as you age. Whether it's the potassium in prunes, the resveratrol in red grapes, or the enzyme in golden kiwis, each one plays a small but powerful role in protecting your body from muscle loss. And look, I'm not saying fruit alone is going to turn back the clock, but small, consistent choices like this, they add up. I've seen it in my own life and in the lives of my patients. A stronger body starts with smarter habits, and sometimes that habit is as simple as what you put on your plate each morning. Thanks so much for watching and spending your time with us today. We truly appreciate you being here. If you learned something new, or if you just feel inspired to try one of these fruits, let us know in the comments below. We love hearing your stories. And hey, don't forget to like this video, share it with a friend or family member, and subscribe to the channel for more senior health tips every single week. Hit that notification bell so you never miss out. Until next time, take care of your body, take care of your mind, and keep moving forward. See you in the next video.